So that's the thing you can play around with and learn some more about. Anyway, that's the best version that I've seen. So emergence of taste. I mean, this is a super interesting one, right? So somehow the things we eat and the things we are, we have this whole sense of taste. This is Holland's article, Nutritionism. Simplest food is hopelessly complex thing to study, right? All these things. And what I want to add here is that we're kind of in that, we're still in this mode of like, here are the constituent elements of a food. You know, we put on the side fats and carbohydrates, whatever. We list them, put the ingredients there, but it doesn't really tell you what it's going to taste like. I mean, there'll maybe some lies about how it will taste. So breaking these things down, of course we have to do this, right? But it does ignore the interactions, but we're maybe building back out to that. I should do the flavor network thing. Yeah, I'll dig that up. Some of the interesting work on recipes, for example, online, which I've pointed to, get at this a little. So it's a reduction of science. That's completely fine, right? But they don't eat. So I guess the big war on fat, right, started from some connections. I believe it was between red meat and heart attacks. And the spin that got put on top of it was the saturated fat, not the meat. And then that became coconut is bad for you, right? And then it became fat is bad for you. And then we ended up with, you know, fat-free, sugar-filled ice cream and stuff like that. And that lasts for a long time, and it really was not good. There's a real fear of fat for a long time. I guess there still is. But, you know, eating fats. It's very animistic, this idea that, you know, that's how you, right? It's not because your body makes things out of sugar or whatever. All right, so it is complex, right? So this is a route that's often taken, right? So that you find something that's good or bad in a food, and then you find the nutrients inside and whatever it is. You know, we need things, vitamins and so on. Beta carotene might increase certain cancers, so you don't want to just go and take all these supplements. Like the multivitamin stuff is really, I think, not great, right? I think there's sort of bad evidence of taking too much of that stuff. This is Times antioxidants, so, you know, it's not what you are thinking about, and which is fair enough. We know it tastes good, it doesn't poison you, right? So it'd be great to know how this works. But meantime, we know it doesn't do any harm. Those people are still around, tastes good. And this is this, you know, gulf between theory and practice. And to go back to Schelling, we had him come talk years ago at Columbia, and he gave this anecdote about, maybe I've said it better, about how you can't really, you know, maybe we can understand everything about the flow of a fluid around a sphere, a perfect sphere. We can do all the math and all these sorts of things, very difficult, and we can do simulations, but we don't then slowly deform that into a jet. You know, like there's not an in-between space there. There's kind of like, let's really solve some hard problems at this, you know, these very well-defined sort of structures, and then we go right out to the whole thing, and at this point it's like massive amounts of computer simulation. You know, lots of other examples, like baseball, cricket's the same, like how the balls move. You know, people know, right? Like the Pakistani cricketers discovered reverse swing. No one understood it, but, you know, it was devastating. It's a long time ago. So, and bumblebees, right? Bumblebees just make no sense. They're too big. And there's a glorious tweet about bumblebees. I should find that one. They're just like back of the envelope sort of thing is like, no, you know, you shouldn't be able to fly. You know, fluid mechanicist says this is wrong, right? And it took a lot of work to find out, but apparently they make some strange little vortices and so on. There's some very weird little things that happen that make them capable of elevating themselves in clumsy and charming ways.